Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Welcome to IHIP News, where we share our opinion about the news that is important to us. Pumps has prepared a segment which will razzle-dazzle the viewers.
As always.
As always.
What I found absolutely appalling over the last weekend was Donald Trump was at a rally, and he floated the idea of a migrant fight club. This man is running for president. This is also a man that calls migrants, undocumented migrants, animals. His language is straight out of Mein Kampf. I mean, this is what happened in Hitler, but let's listen to what he says.
Dana, I have an idea for you to make a lot of money. You're going to go and start a new migrant fight league. Migrants, only migrants. And then at the end of the year, the champion migrant is going to fight your champion. And I hate to tell you, Dana, I think the migrant might win. That's how tough they are.
It's so dehumanizing. And what is so flabbergasting to me is that all of the enablers around him in the MAGA Republican Party are not saying, this is not okay. I mean, we know he's crazy and unhinged, but the lack of empathy, it is so similar to pre-World War II Germany. Like, they're dehumanizing people. They're pretending that these people don't have feelings or children or aspirations or dreams. They are pretending they are less than people, and it is terrifying to me.
Well, you have a major political party that refers to a whole group of people as illegal. Mm-hmm. And so that was the first step in dehumanizing them. And it's wild to me. This is like ancient Rome stuff, you know?
Yes,
like
gladiator shit.
And Donald Trump is the only person, let me clarify that. Convicted felon Donald Trump is the only person that it's better for him when he is in a courtroom 4 days a week, being on trial for 34 felony charges, than being out speaking. Because when he's out speaking, you're reminded of just how horrific the Trump presidency is. And I think a lot of people that are not high information voters that kind of dip in and out of the news are forgetting how cruel and insane this man is. And within Trump, you have, the Trump sycophants, which now are really insane. And
right.
Then you have the followers. But the majority of Americans, I have to believe, are mortified by this.
I would have to think so, but where's the outrage? Where is the outrage from his party? He was spouting this horrible rhetoric at Christian rallies where there's a bunch of Christians and they're cheering for it. Like, how does this happen?
I'll tell you how it happens. And I'll just have to say it till I'm blue in the face. Christianity is an authoritarian religion. Not all. There are probably viewers on here that don't take the Bible literally, that use it as a source of some sense of centering and serenity for them. But the biblical literalists, the people who take the Bible literally, fundamentalist Christians, it is an authoritarian religion, and Trump offers an authoritarian form of government. So this is a very comfortable place. It's a very comfortable headspace for them to be in. It's all about a punitive way of life. Here's heaven, and then the alternate to that is you're going to burn in hell forever. It's a very cruel mindset to have. So for that to lean into your political world is not that big of a stretch at all.
It's just the mask has come off, hasn't it? With all of these people
Totally.
That are so, I'm a Christian and I have all these values. You value hate. You value demeaning people. If this is your candidate, you cannot claim the moral high ground. It's impossible.
I agree. The cruelest people that I personally know living in a deeply religious state are the most religious. The people who tend to have the least amount of empathy for human suffering, that are the most racist, that are the most homophobic, that deem immigrants as quote unquote illegal and want them to fight. They're all the most religious people I've come into contact with. All of this stuff lives in the exact same space. And I think, we're never going to reach out to these people to get them to cross over because it's like a house of cards. If you pull out one, their whole entire worldview collapses. But there are people that are, moderate religious people, free thinkers that probably meander into the news and get sucked into maybe a clip where he's saying something that fires him up. And we have to remember how cruel his policies are and how dangerous they are for the entire world order.
Yeah, they are cruel. They're based out of zero empathy. And when he started talking about a migrant fight club, it shocked me. Like, as low as he has gone and continues to go, it's like he keeps digging the bottom deeper.
It's shocking, but this is the guy who, when there were Nazis in Charlottesville, says there are good people on both sides. And he was president of the United States when he said that. And so this is his whole breed of politics. All of his followers are now saying, if Trump wants to be a dictator, I support it.
Right.
It's just, these are not patriotic people. These are not people that support democracy. This is a cult, and their leader is a convicted felon. You only see this kind of crap in cults because MAGA is a cult. The Republican Party is gone. You asked earlier, where is the outrage from his own party? They have been completely ostracized. They're the rhinos, or some of them are now at the Lincoln Project. The Never Trumpers get completely driven out of the politics of the Republican Party because this is the Republican Party. They're the party of cruelty, the party of authoritarianism, the party of Christian nationalism.
Yeah, it's terrifying. It really is terrifying. Something else that is terrifying me, as per usual, is Clarence Thomas. This man is on the Supreme Court. We had a decision recently from the Supreme Court where a person that had a protective order issued against him because he had committed domestic violence and they had taken his guns away. So he sued, and it goes up to the Supreme Court. And 8 of the justices said it's appropriate to take away the guns of someone who's committed domestic violence. Not this guy. This guy who likes private jets and RVs and white supremacists to pay for everything he does. He's like, no, I don't think that's a problem. They shouldn't have their constitutional rights taken away. Somebody who is a domestic abuser. Like, this guy is so off the chain. And I just want to remind everybody, he was in the majority of the Dobbs decision, which overturned Roe versus Wade. Overturned Roe versus Wade. And in it, he said, using this analogy, we can go into gay marriage, interracial marriage. This man is married to a white woman and wants to go into mixed race couples. This guy is so out of touch. He's so entitled. I am outraged by him too. He and Trump are the perfect bedfellows. The flag upside downer, the handmaid, the beer drinker. It's unbelievable how cruel these people are.
The biggest lesson about Clarence Thomas is this. There was a woman who tried to warn everybody about this man, Anita Hill.
I remember.
And you had a bunch of white men aggressively question her and demean her, and nobody listened. And then the same thing happens with Brett Kavanaugh. You have a woman that comes out that says, there is something here that I think the world needs to know before this person is on the Supreme Court. Each time the women are ignored and the patriarchy survives and reigns. And the aftermath of this is horrific. This man is so evil and so disgusting. His biggest benefactor is a literal Nazi.
Right.
For fun, collects Nazi shit that he has in his house. What is his name? Harlan Crow?
Yes.
And it's just wild to me that there is no oversight of this court, and they are so brazen. But what you see with Trumpism and what you see with this cult is how so many people can fall prey to being radicalized. These people are educated, yet they dive into all of this religion. They dive into all this right-wing media, and you have radicalized justices on the Supreme Court that have one worldview.
One.
And it's very closed. It's very narrow-minded, and they want to project that onto everybody else in the world. His wife is beyond batshit crazy.
Right.
We know Martha Ann Alito is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs beyond, yet they want to make decisions for 180 million people. The handmaid goes along with it. The beer drinker goes along with it. John Roberts has got to be the biggest beta male that doesn't stand up for anything. It is
no
an
question.
out of control Supreme Court that was not democratically elected, that has too much power. And if the Democrats are not successful in this next election, the Supreme Court will undoubtedly get a few more picks, and it will be full-blown Christian nationalism for decades. And I am so sick and tired of Americans focusing solely on one character trait of a politician that they don't like. Maybe it's Biden's age. Think bigger. You're voting for an entire administration. People say, oh, let's try out Trump for 4 years. Well, we did that. And now 180 million women have fewer rights today because of that experiment. That experiment caused pain and suffering and continues to rain hellfire on women all across the country, particularly women in red states like ours, not to mention what these laws and this overall elitism that they have towards the LGBTQ plus community, the Black and brown community. It is a disaster. And if they are successful, again, the world as we know it, not just this country, but the entire world order will be so precarious, and it is so scary, and it is so dangerous, which is why we're going to keep beating this drum on this little YouTube channel of ours every chance we can get.
That's right. You've got to go vote.
Gotta
Vote blue.
All right. We'll see you next time.